So today I'm going to give you the guidance for the next lunar cycle, starting on the new moon in Virgo on the 7th of September. So I'm using the same cards as last time because I think now you're getting familiar with them as well. So it's easier for you to connect to what I'm saying, much more quickly. The first card that I got from the Oracle of the Virgin Mary from Durham Virtue is all about boundaries. So the advice of this card is to set some clear boundaries with others. So, you do that by being assertive, by being clear in your communication of what your expectations are with others. And, that way you can be really, fully respecting yourself and others as well. Then the second card is, from the archetype cards of Caroline Myss. And it's the archetype of the engineer. So that card is all about giving some creative energy a practical expression. So you use your talent to solve some problems, either by putting in place a process that facilitates the life of others and your life as well at the same time, or it could be creating a product as well, building something that will help as well solve some practical problems. So you need to avoid being in the shadow side, which is, if I read the card, to rely too much on mechanistic solutions without regarding the emotional consequences. So if you detach too much from taking into account the emotions of the people you are helping, then it's becoming too standardized and mechanical, maybe more robotical. So you're going to complicate things more than actually helping. So yeah, you just have to be careful not falling into that extreme. Then the other card that came out from the Akashic Tarot is the same one as last lunar cycle, which is the Three of Keys, the chess game. So as I told you last time, it means that you might be surrounded by people in your work environment, in your family, or in society in general, and usually in position of authority that can be very negative, or who can have some motives or strategies that are actually not helping you, and you can feel they're negative. And so the advice of this card is to detach emotionally from that environment, from that negative situation, or from those people. If you're not able to detach physically from the situation or the environment, detaching emotionally, not getting too involved, because otherwise your energy might get sucked in, and then it's going to be actually worse for you. So yeah, be aware of that. Then the advice of the numerology deck is the card number 57, teaching and learning. So if you feel drawn to something that is very dear to your heart, that you haven't learned about yet, it's really the time this lunar cycle to do so, to either find the resources online, or a specific course, a teacher, a mentor, a group you can belong to learn more, about, to learn new skills. Or, as well, it can be either or as well. It's all about teaching what you already know, what you've experienced in your life, what you have learned. And as you know, in the universe, everything is about, balance. It's a universal law. So what you give, you receive. What you receive, you give. So it's very positive and wise to actually receive some learning, but also teach at the same time, because the more you teach what you learn, the more you're going to integrate better what you have learned, by teaching. And also, by learning, you're going to also teach in a better way. So it goes together, really. Teaching and learning always goes together. It's a full circle. It's a full process. So it's really good for you to follow that. And as I've written down in my post on the new moon in Virgo, as I said, on the 7th of September, there's the North Node has been transiting in the sign of Gemini since May 2020, since the second trimester last year. And so we've been in the energies of Gemini and Sagittarius since beginning of last year with the different eclipses. And that is going to change from October, and from October, end of this year, and especially in January 2022, when the North Node is going to transit another sign, the next sign, which is Taurus, the previous sign. So this means that things are going to change. We are not going to be surrounded by so much information anymore. It's not going to be, as intense, with information from the media, from social media, all the announcements we've been having, from the different governments, and all that information that's been very, very intense, all that communication and searching for the truth, that's very Sagittarius. So all of that is going to be changing. So it's really the time now to learn that lesson around those energies of Gemini and Sagittarius. And every time there's a change of sign for a planet or for fictive points like the North Node, there's always a lesson to be learned much more actively. So there can be, an event, for instance, between the transition between the North Node being in Cancer in early 2020 and the North Node going into Gemini. That's when that big health crisis has started. So that was the transition point between the change of sign of the North Node. So there can be an event or something quite, intense collectively, but also in your personal life that really brings up, those lessons to be learned around those signs. So, there's been a lesson to be learned around the sign of Cancer, and now there's something to be learned around the sign of Gemini, around that information thing, around journalism, around communication, around all that knowledge, all that truth, that's Sagittarius, the opposite sign of Gemini. So that's the time really to to be using those energies to the maximum, to really feed that sense of communication and knowledge. So that's the message of that card, sorry. Talking about astrology, that's why I'm getting mixed up. But we are finishing with the astrology tarot. And the card that picked up was the card of Cancer. So why that? It means that the advice for this lunar cycle is to listen to the voice of Cancer, which is listening to your inner world, to your emotions, connecting to your feminine energy, your sacred feminine energy, your motherly energy, protective energy, protecting your nest, protecting your children, being really, listening to your children and close to your children. And so, yeah, it's going to be a very feminine lunar cycle. Yeah. So, I hope those messages make sense to you and help you with this lunar cycle. And I will get back to you next time for the next lunar cycle.